Hi, everybody. Welcome back to June Lake Productions, the Voiceover Beginner Series. My name's James. Getting started in voiceovers, I realized early on what a huge advantage it was for me to have my own home studio. The availability and affordability of high quality hardware and software today has really made for a boom over the last decade or so of voiceover artists out there. And there's also been a boom in YouTube and e-learning, and those have created a lot of work available for you and I. You can, of course, and very may well at some point, use a professional studio, but for the day-to-day grind of voiceover, home studio is the king. So let's dive into what you need to make a home studio. Number one, you need a decent computer, Macintosh or PC, your choice. I'll let you guys argue that out. But you need to have something that has a lot of storage space and decent processing power. The video shouldn't matter so much, but you want it to be as dedicated and as high-end as you can possibly make it within your budget and ability. Second, you're going to need a decent microphone, or I should even say a good microphone, as good as your budget really will allow. We're going to talk about a few of those, so hold on to your pants. I use, and my home loviness, is the Rode NT1A condenser mic. And you want a condenser mic. I recommend that you not get what we call a stage mic, say a Shure 58 or something like that. Those are for live performance. A condenser mic does a lot more for you and is really meant for this kind of work. So get yourself a condenser mic. Mine is a Rode NT1A, and it's just what I use, my preference. It's also what ACX, which is Audible's forum for doing their audiobooks, recommends for beginning artists. This microphone costs about $229, so it's pretty budget friendly. So that's one. Another one is an SE Electronics SE2200A2C microphone. It's another large diaphragm cardioid condenser microphone. It's great for vocal isolation, filtering out a lot of background noise, and it runs about $299. Not bad for the budget-minded. Another microphone that some recommend is the Harlan Hogan VO1A microphone. Now, this microphone is $299, the same price as the SE Electronics one. However, it comes with a hard case, clip mount, shock mount, XLR cables, and 2 replacement bands. These little bands on the shock mount break every now and then. So for the bang for the buck, you get that. Lastly, that I'm going to talk about is a CAD E100S microphone, which runs about $499 and is hugely popular. Probably that and the NT1A for beginners and even those further along. Those are favorite microphones, if you will. The CAD's excellent microphone. Check them out. Every microphone, when you're talking about a microphone, acts a little bit differently. Check out some of the reviews. Some of them are better if you have a big, deep, boomy voice. Some of them are better if you're higher in pitch or a female doing those kind of things, or for character voices or for loud noises. So do a little research on them, but for your basic narration, voiceover starting, any of those microphones will get you in the door. Last microphone I'm going to talk about is the Neumann U87 or the Neumann TLM 103. Those are the super duper microphones. They run about $1,000 to $1,100 a pop. If you got the bucks, buddy, go for it. But I promise you the other microphones can do a great job for you for the things that you need to do. But if you got it, hey, go for it. You're going to need a pop filter. That's this right here. Some people have stretched a piece of pantyhose over some stuff. It's basically just some thin filter, and what's that is for what they call plosives. So when you have your P's and your D's and B's, those make explosive sounds, and I probably just popped it. Even with my filter, the air can go through. So this diffuses the air and sends it off. You're talking about $10, maybe $15 or something like that for a filter. You need one. You'll need a mic stand. You can use small desktop mic stands. You can use tall stand-up ones, just depending on your space and what you can afford, but they run $25, so really easy to get hold of. You'll need an interface. That is what takes your microphone signal from analog to digital and sends it off into the computer for you to edit and play with. You'll need studio monitors or a headset. You can go with standard speakers. I don't recommend it. If you can afford them, studio monitors are great. They're about $250 each, not per pair. So if you can afford it, get yourself some decent studio monitors. You won't regret it. Headphones, I recommend over-the-ear style headphones that are comfortable, because you're going to be wearing them for a long time. Don't do the in-ear thing per se. I don't think you'll find that as comfortable over the long run. If you've got some comfortable ones, great. But for the type of work you're generally going to be doing, your main thing is you want to keep sound from leaking out, because it can leak into your microphone. They call it bleed. And you want to try and keep external sounds from leaching in and be able to hear what's going on with the sounds you're making clearly. So decent set of headphones. You can probably spend about $30 to $50 on a decent set of headphones, and some good speakers will get you by for now. Recommend you upgrade those when you get the chance. You're going to, of course, need cabling to put all these things together, and we'll talk about that in a little more detail here in a minute. And then you're going to need a digital to analog workstation, DAW. The most popular and common ones is, of course, Pro Tools, which is an industry standard. You also have Reaper, which is my DAW of choice. You have some options like Audacity, which is a free one that you can download today and get up and running just fine. Plenty of people use it. And you also have Adobe Audition is another one that's very popular in the voiceover community that I hear a lot of people using. Really, almost any DAW on the planet will probably do what you need it to do for voiceover work. You need to be able to, of course, capture the sound, and you needed to be able to do some basic editing, some cutting and cropping of the files to cut out bad takes, maybe a little bit of compression and equalization, EQ. We'll talk about that a little later in other episodes. And not a whole lot, really. You're not producing a full album with all sorts of crazy instruments and things going on. So really, any DAW will do the job for you. In my series, you're going to see me using Reaper. I think it cost me about $60 to $80 for Reaper, and it is amazingly functional. So I do that. Now, I also bought some plugins, and we'll talk about plugins in a future video, but I bought some plugins that do way more than that cost quite a bit, and I'll let you guys decide if you need them or don't need them. Really, Reaper can do most of what anyone's going to need. The last thing that you need to consider with your home studio is your room. Either treating the room with some sort of sound panels or something to absorb the sound, or curtains like I'm using back here, or you need to figure out a space that doesn't have a lot of reverb. Go in your bathroom, do the old clap check. You'll hear the echo. That's bad. You don't want it. Many sites won't even let you pass their QA if they hear all that, and your customers aren't going to like it. So you need as dead of a room as possible. And by dead, I mean the least amount of external noise and reverb. It'd be great if you can afford what they call a whisper room, which is like an isolation booth for recording. And those are great. They run somewhere between $3,000 and $12,000, depending on which brand and type and size and all of those kinds of what kinds of extras you get on them and all those kinds of things. I used for a long time a spare bedroom that I put some soundproofing on, and it worked great. And now I've moved my studio. I've now built it in my garage, so you're actually standing in my garage, and I built it here and added sound treatments around it. Now, if you can keep out the external noise, this will save you time and effort and headache in editing, because you've probably even heard in this video cars driving by and dogs barking and lawnmowers going off, because my space is noisy and it's a high traffic kind of day. So that means every time I'm recording something and a car drives by, I have to stop and record that line all over again. So the quieter of a space that you can get, the better. Okay, well, there you have the basics of a home recording studio, or really any recording studio. A professional studio just spends a lot more money on it and is dedicated to it. So there's your basics. You've got to have a decent computer. You need a good microphone. You need a pop filter, a microphone stand, an interface to get sound from here to there, some way to listen to it, monitors or a headset. You need the cables, of course, to make it all work. You need a workstation, DAW, so that you can edit your sounds. And you need to take your room into consideration as far as making it as quiet as possible for you to record in. So down below, I'm going to leave links to both my equipment so you can check it out and build your studio exactly like mine if that's what you want to do, as well as the other equipment that I've talked about. I want you to find what works for you and your budget and situation and your voice. It all matters. Keep in mind that more money does not necessarily equal the best for you or your voice or your style of voiceover. So this video series is meant to be interactive. I care about what you want to learn about. What questions do you have? So do me a big favor, go down below, subscribe it, like it, share it, comment, leave me a question, and we'll see you next time. Till then, dive in and do something you love.